just as important as it is to put in the work, because if you want this to work, like dialysis, getting a transplant, you got to put in the work. You got to, and I'm saying that in the most simplistic terms, but it takes a lot of hard work in order to do dialysis successfully. Like, you can do dialysis, anybody can do dialysis, but there's a difference between doing dialysis and still feeling bad and doing dialysis and actually getting the most out of the treatments that you can. Now, I'm not celebrating that. Like, to me, none of this stuff is anything that I personally celebrate. Like, I have accomplishments in my life that I am proud of. This is not one of them. Being good at dialysis is not something that I'm proud of. But it's important, as much time and energy as you put into this, to have things that you do, things outside of this, whatever your thing is. Granted that it's not like destructive. I'm not talking about like drinking and doing drugs and smoking weed, smoking cigarettes and all that stuff. I'm talking about like positive recreational activities that you do. Now, granted, sometimes you are not always going to be in a position to do these things. You're not always going to feel like doing them. It might be like physical illness. If physical illness, it might be you just not feeling it. You know, you might be having a bad day that day, and you're not motivated to do anything. But it's important to have things that you do that are outside of this, right? Because this consumes everything. It will consume everything. And it's important to have something that you care about, that you do, that's important to you outside of all of this. Like for me, for example, I do a lot of things. I mentioned in the last video, I'm an avid gamer. I said Madden because like people just, you're black, so you must like playing Madden. And that's not true. You know, like I'm an avid gamer. I draw, I collect action figures, I build models, I do all of that stuff. You know, martial arts, training, and my training is slowed down due to certain circumstances, but like these are things that I cherish and I put in a very high regard that are outside of this, that I try not to let dialysis and kidney disease touch this, right? So whenever possible, I try to do all of these things that I enjoy doing in isolation, right? Because these were things that I was doing before I got sick, and it's important to keep those things. Like I said, even if you are not motivated to do them, it's important to have things. Like if you are an avid reader, or if you're an avid writer, if you I don't know, you do yoga, whatever your thing is, make sure that this doesn't take that. But in my own personal life, this has taken a lot. Like, I did martial arts. I was very serious about martial arts, not in any competitive way, not in trying to get into a cage or MMA or any of that stuff. But I did martial arts because it made me happy. I enjoyed the physical exertion. I enjoyed seeing the benefits of my training come to fruition, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the scars, on my hands from, heavy training, hitting the heavy bag, or learning something new physically, or a new technique, or a new training routine. I enjoyed all of that. And dialysis has very much punched a hole in a lot of my aspirations to stay strong physically. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there who's going to, well, you can still do every single thing that you do before. I still do every single thing that I did before I got sick. Dialysis doesn't change anything, and that is incorrect. That's wrong. Dialysis does change your life. It changes your life very drastically and very dramatically, and in a very short amount of time. If more patients were being honest and not just doing it for social media. They would say they would have very similar sentiments. I'm not the same person I was before. I don't have the same physical fitness or endurance. All of that has changed now, regardless of how much work I put into it. I'm still doing dialysis 3 or 4 times a week. And that affects me a lot, actually. But despite all of this, I still try to maintain my things, because dialysis can't have those things. Those are my things that I do. They are activities and things that bring me joy, that, I like a lot. And I don't want to give up those things. And you shouldn't have to. And there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to be like, nothing stops me from doing anything I want to do. Oh, okay. That's cool for you, right? But, for me, this is very much a roller coaster. I can't tell you how I'm going to feel a week from now. I can't tell you how I'm going to feel a day from now. It's all different. Every day is different. Sometimes I'm motivated to do stuff. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I can do some stuff. Sometimes I can't. That's just the nature of how it is. Every day is never going to be the same. Right? But you'll get like these experts and these pundits will try to tell you that, well, they know exactly, you're going to feel like this, and this, and it's always going to be like that. And it's always going to, they can't anticipate this. There's no anticipation of it. So just try to maintain your things. Whatever those things are to you.